Hi. Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth about what ghosts are, what aliens are, how it's okay to acquire wealth that it says about in the Bible. It says about in the Bible that I know 110% for sure. It's the truth. It's God's truth. It's the truth, how everything is. It's God's truth. God and Jesus shows us in the Bible. When we understand enough about what the Bible really says, we can see the truth and there's proof of it. For example, creationism is real. Adam and Eve were created 140,000 years ago, about 80,000 to 180,000 years ago. They lived 1,000 years old at first because they weren't sinning as much. They were just introduced, they were first introduced to sin, and they used to live longer. And the sin is what kills us and makes us not live as long. And down the generations, as they had incest to create all humankind, they lived less and less long. Hi. And then through all the generations, you add it up, it adds up to like 80,000 to 140,000 years or something like that, I believe. But I may have to look that up to be sure about that. But there's proof of it in the Bible. Whatever it is, there's proof of it when you understand the Bible enough. No, we're not in the end times. We'd know if we were. The end times are unless somehow unless somehow the pandemic was part of it, but I doubt it. It would be way worse. The it starts with the 7 years. It's the tribulation, and it's a fight between, well, it's evil trying to fight good, and good doesn't really fight back. It's kind to others, and eventually the evil ones that keep trying to kill the good people, some of them die, and the evil ones end up burning in the lake of fire for all eternity. It comes back to hurt them, and they burn in the lake of fire for all eternity. The devil, the demons, and all the people they tricked into it. And Mr. Lantern, what is that? Like something fun and different rather than God and Jesus? I don't know. Oh, you guys are talking. Some people are talking about something else that they understand. Anyway, here's what ghosts are in the Bible. You know what ghosts are? There is no such thing as a ghost. It is not a real person. It's not a person. It's a demon. It's a bad spirit. It's a demon or sometimes the devil. And they try to act like ghosts, I believe. Unless there's some kind of a spirit realm. Unless there's some kind of a spirit realm like a purgatory or something where souls go to wait to be judged. There might be a small or waiting or short or long or whatever it is, a waiting period until they're judged. So purgatory might, there could be a good spirit, which I think are angels who help us through life, but they sin too when they're on earth, I believe, when they're helping us through life, because because like, you don't hear them, but like sometimes in our thoughts we get, or we'll get a really strong thought, or really almost a loud thought, but we don't really hear it. It's in our thoughts because you don't want to act like you're hearing voices, but you might get a thought like some curse word, but telling you you've got to do something. And it's to help you and be a more, it to help you be a more kind person. Um, and so it's different in heaven than it is on earth. In heaven, there's no sin. When there's an angel in heaven, they don't sin at all. There's no sin, no curse words, nothing bad. But when they're down here on earth, because there's sin on earth, when they're in the spirit realm to help us, angels, then they can't help but to curse and stuff like that. So that's what ghosts are, either an angel who's a good spirit, or a demon, which is a bad spirit, but an angel is like from heaven. Or it's I don't know if ghosts exist, but there's a possibility that there may be a purgatory where people go. There may be a purgatory where people go. I'm going to film the ceiling so I don't show myself. What do I think of quantum immorality? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What's quantum immorality? What's quantum immorality? No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in quantum immorality. I think that's made up to make people feel happy about themselves, like, oh, nothing bad's gonna happen and they can act how they want to. Oh, immortality. Immortality. Quantum immortality. I believe our soul is forever. We have a soul and it lasts forever. That's forever. So we got to do our best to be kind to others and not give in to temptation, and kind of be like really thoughtful about it and put a lot of effort for it sometimes to make sure you're standing up for good things, good uh ideas and thoughts and intent, like helping others, being kind to others, and not giving in to temptation. Not giving in to temptation. And so that's what ghosts are: bad spirits who are demons. And some people think, oh, demons don't exist. Well, Jesus may show you them, and then you may change your mind if you ever are shown them by Jesus and God, or God may show you demons. They're pretty scary. They have a very fast IQ, like maybe 1,000 or thousands of times an IQ of a human or something like that, from what I saw of them. Because they were once angels. They were like a lot smarter than, or different than a human soul. So that's what's down in hell. And they try to trick people and be bad spirits and act like ghosts. And when you invite ghosts in, you might be inviting demons. So it could be scary. Or they could be from purgatory, maybe people in purgatory, which I don't know if it mentions in the Bible or not, but have you heard like thoughts of, really strong coming from somewhere else, not your own thoughts, when you weren't expecting any of those any of those kinds of words, and they come into your mind like really strong and clear, or really strong and vividly from somewhere else, like, and they might say something that you were not expecting at all. The thoughts that you get in someone else's voice, maybe a woman's voice or a man's voice, will come to mind in thoughts. And it's very common to hear voices, and children I don't think hear them, but adults maybe hear them a lot more, or we get a thought of a voice. And if you're around people a lot, you may just think that it's those people. But sometimes even those people think that they get help from angels, or hear thoughts of people talking and stuff. And I think it's angels who came down from heaven, and in heaven they're without sin, but because they're on earth to help us, I think that they can't help but to sin because there's sin on earth, and it's different from heaven. So they kind of curse and stuff to help us do good sometimes. In small ways they sin, but they're trying to help us be good. So I think that's what ghosts are. And aliens, I think, are the same thing. Aliens are aliens are if are aliens what aliens really are cherubs. They are angels. They're very kind and good. They're angels from the heavens. And it talks about it in the Bible. You can look it up. It says that they showed up in a silver spacecraft. It says this from a book that was written 2,000 years ago or more, the Old Testament, I think. And they showed up in a silver spacecraft, and they're cherubs. They're aliens. And they look like kind of weird or different or something. But they're good. They're not bad. They're not bad. That's the thing. They're good. They're from heaven or the heavens. And they're very kind and very good. And there's no scary bad aliens. There are no scary bad aliens. There are no scary bad aliens. If people think they're aliens tricking them and they're terrified by them and stuff, and they're outside the window or something like that, those are demons. That's demons posing as aliens. Because if they're really mean, that's demons. And if they have a very high IQ and you think they're aliens, there's no mean aliens. There are no mean aliens. It says in the Bible. Yeah, tell Sigourney Weaver that. I used to like that movie Alien or Aliens when I was in film school, but now I don't know if I like it anymore. And I don't know. And yeah, it used to be one of my favorites in film school. Aliens, James Cameron films, The Abyss. That was one of his films. He had really big budgets. The Titanic. I liked it. I liked the Titanic. But Aliens was the one. I think Aliens was the one with Sigourney Weaver, and the first one was good too. Alien. But those ideas aren't real. There are no scary aliens to be afraid of. They're only good aliens. Demons may trick people into thinking they're aliens or ghosts, but it's demons. But ghosts may be real. Ghosts may be like people waiting in purgatory to go to heaven, or some of them, if they can't make it, may end up in hell. But they're trying to get into heaven, but they don't have their bodies anymore, I think. So they're trying to get into heaven, and they still sin because they're on earth. So they may sin in small ways, but they're trying to be good, I think, so they can get into heaven. And I heard this voice one time, a couple years ago, or 3 years ago, and it said, "I've been lifted." Because there was some sin I was caught up on for like 20 years or 15 years, 20 years, trying to be famous, trying to be famous, trying to be famous to prove that I wasn't like made fun of. And it was something like that, but I don't know exactly what it was, but it was pretty much that. I think it was or pretty close. It was like trying to be famous to prove that I wasn't the one they all made fun of or something. And I finally just let go of that and said, yeah, I really don't. It doesn't matter if I'm famous or not. Like, it doesn't matter to me at all. I don't have anything to prove to those people who I thought made fun of me, You're supposed to forgive those people when they make fun of you or say that you don't have a lot of money or say you don't look good or say anything about you that that like they used to say when I was in the soccer team, they called me fat, and it took till I was 25 years old, but I've finally gotten really, really good shape because I tried to have something to improve. And that's when I started working out more because it made me feel happier instead of being the heavy kid. But that gives people something to improve. But you don't have to be mean to those people. Go back and be mean to those people who made fun of you or try to prove something your entire life. You know, it doesn't matter that much. I work out for my health now, so I don't have to go to the doctor as much. Or go, maybe I'll die before I end up having to go to the doctor. Who knows? But I'll probably go. I don't know. But I might live a long time, or I don't know. That's up to God. Yeah, I'm good. And all our souls are good. All of our souls are good. That is for sure. Some of us, that those souls go down to hell and they're constantly tormented, and they feel so much remorse and regret for having not lived their life the right way, but it's too late for them and they're stuck in hell, constantly tortured and tormented in unimaginable ways of suffering at the hands of the demons and the devil who tricked them into being that way. They're down in hell, but they still have a good soul. It says the worm never goes out, like a worm in their head or wherever it is in it's their conscience. It's their good soul, and it never goes out. It's forever, for all eternity. And they're stuck down there, tortured and tormented for all eternity until they're all thrown in the lake of fire with the devil, the demons, and all of them constantly burning with no rest. That's what it says. And I've heard some of them talk in the past few days or so, and they're like, people I was kind of close to, I just listened to them, and they're literally in a habit of being really, really mean. Some people in my regular life are normal, and they got misled in their faith, and they're in the dark as to God's truth and the truth. As happens to people when they don't have God and Jesus, they're more likely to really mess up, and they can just start being really mean and stuff. Because they might be really kind for a while when it's working for them and stuff, and then all of a sudden they might start acting really freaking, really, or not freaking, but really mean. Like really mean when they don't have the Bible to tell them what's good and right and righteous, to tell them right from wrong, so they know how to really be in the New Testament that was Jesus had written. So I don't know what to say about that. And so ghosts may or may not be real, and aliens, there are no bad aliens, there are only good aliens from heaven. They're cherubs. And if you think they're bad aliens outside and you're scared of them, they're demons tricking you. And a lot of times the ghosts, if they're scary, they're demons. So keep the lights on for that. But guess what? Out here, for 3 or 4 years, I never had to leave the lights on. This was the first place I ever lived where I could turn all the lights off way out in the woods and feel safe and okay. And I didn't have to worry about um, scary ghosts or scary aliens that I used to worry about when I was younger, who are all demons. They're inviting, when you invite ghosts in your life, you may invite bad spirits. And so ask Jesus to protect you and ask Jesus for it to be okay. Well, they may be human souls that are in purgatory trying to get to heaven, and they haven't been judged yet. The ghosts that you say are ghosts. What was that talk? I was talking. I don't know. And those are ghosts and aliens and money. When there's when people are trying to acquire wealth, the way to get there is slow and steady wealth. That's what's allowed in the Bible. Slow and steady making money, and then in a lifetime, you have more at the end of your life. And maybe in the low millions, maybe, and may not be considered rich, but enough to where you saved and you barely spent anything and you kept saving until you had that much, and it slowly and steadily adds up, but not being mean to others, not looking down on the poor as a way to act like you're way better than them, to try to use that as a way to make more money. Specifically says those people will lose all their money in the Bible. Specifically, there's a line on that you can look up. Being against the poor to try to make more money as one of your ways of trying to make more money, being intentionally against the poor to try to act like you're better than them to make a little more money, or as one of the ways that you make a lot of money, and trying to earn tons of money at like well, there are exceptions. Well, there are some people who can make it to heaven being rich, but most people can't. It's easier to get through for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. That's really how difficult it is to get it right when they're doing things that they're that big. It's like really difficult. It's like a difficult balance. It's a balancing act of some kind, or in some instances, it's a little different. They inherited it and they just happen to be kind, and they didn't. That's all they ever knew. And um, there are different ways that people can sometimes be rich and make it to heaven, but some people are supposed to be poor, and it may be they may have way better stuff in heaven for being poor on earth. I was reading. I was oh man, I was reading what it said. Uh, I don't even know if I can see. I can see it. I'm trying to read what rain. I don't believe that kind of stuff with dimensions and stuff like that. That's when it's more likely to that's when it's more likely to um I had a friend who believed in all kinds of weird stuff. And that's when it's more likely to get misled in your faith, and you may be more likely to be mean here and there when you think that you feel like doing it to keep up whatever earthly things that you think are more important, or um, ways that you think make you feel happy and good or without suffering. So you can't just make up the rules to whatever you think makes you feel the best, because it may be wrong and bad, maybe hurting others or doing things that are bad that, well, hurt others. If you give in to temptation too much, oftentimes that hurts others. Like having, you know, sexual things that are bad. And so that's what I think. But there's something else I was talking about. That's what she believes. I believe in God and Jesus, and all the answers for everything are there for how to be in the Bible. In the Bible. That's how it is. Zoomed in. What's on the counter? Did the dishes. So you can acquire wealth, but it takes slow and steady. Well, you may acquire wealth. Some people are not supposed to, but it's not real wealth. But it's like, or maybe it is wealth, but it's supposed to be slow and steady, and you have to save money and get there in time, apparently, and not spend a ton of money, not waste money. That's pretty bad to waste money and waste stuff. That's not the way that you get there slowly and steady. That's that's like means that there's likely to be sin when you make that type of money if you're throwing away that much. I think because you're not supposed to throw away that much stuff, good stuff. You know that that adds up to millions of dollars in somebody's by the time somebody's like in their 50s or 60s or 70s when they throw away all that stuff, that good stuff, and they waste money on things that they don't need. And they have a giant garage filled with stuff that they don't even use. I'm not talking about my parents. I'm talking about somebody else. And all that stuff, you know how much money it costs? Might add up to $40,000 cash that they would have. No, I can't kick the Catholic stuff out the window. That's what my parents believe. There's something I was going to talk about. I'll look back at the video later. Pretty interesting. I started to talk about it and then I missed it. I'm going to try to look back in the video. Hold on. I'm going to try to look back on the video. Well, I think I got the basic idea. I talked about everything I was planning on talking about. Ghosts, aliens. Aliens are always good if they're real aliens. They're cherubs from the heavens. They're cherubs from the heavens, meaning angels. Those are real well, those are angels and those are real aliens. And sometimes what we think are ghosts are spirits to help us, and they're on earth, so they sin a little bit to help us do good. Those are angels, but sometimes ghosts can be like maybe spirits in purgatory who are waiting to go to heaven or hell, wherever God sends them, but likely heaven because if they're good. And those are the ones you want to reach out to, good spirits and angels and stuff. I'm shaking my foot. Well, and ask God and Jesus to protect you if you think there's any bad spirits who are the demons. We got to get away from them and the devil. So ask God and Jesus to protect you from any of that stuff. I'm going to go. Is there something out the window? No. That stuff could look scary. Looks like a mask. Like the Phantom of the Opera mask in the lower left part of the screen. Outside the window. Phantom of the Opera, a white Phantom of the Opera mask. So you can see one eye, or like a Batman mask. Looks like a Batman mask. You can see one of the points on the left. The Batman mask. Anyway, I'm going to go. Like there. I don't know. I'm going to go. Ooh. I got to go. That's it. Talked about ghosts, aliens, acquiring wealth, maybe a spirit realm. I'm going to go. Bye. Oh, yeah, I saw a bunch of aliens. I saw a bunch of spacecrafts outside one time. I went out in the backyard, and there were a fleet of them. They had like 4 or 5 lights, and the way they had like 4 or 5 lights and like dots, like 1, 2, 3 on the top and 2 on the bottom. There's one exactly like that here, or somewhere way up in the sky, and then there's another one exactly the same light pattern up here, and they're about this big, this big. They had 3 lights on the top and 2 on the bottom. There's one there, one there, one there, like one there and one there. And then they had ones that only had 2 or 3 lights. And there was the ones with the 3 lights, like here, 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 here. And there were hundreds of them. And they were all in the sky in my backyard above the woods. And they looked like they were like a few thousand feet in the air. And they're in the back, and they're in the above all the giant woods. There's like 800 acres of woods back there. And I went out there and saw them all, or I noticed them all, and I could hear them. I could hear them go like really loud, however it sounds. And I tried to. I tried. My kids might be watching this, and I tried to film it, but the camera wasn't able to film it. But I saw them, and they're angels, and they're good, and they can't hurt anyone. They're angels. They're good, and they have these funny looking animals and creatures and stuff in heaven, but they're all really, really kind and good, and they don't hurt anyone. There's no sin at all. They have lions who made it to heaven. Some of them really suffered or were good on earth, and they really made it to heaven, like real lions and gorillas and stuff, and they can't hurt anyone in heaven, and they're supposed to be in heaven, I think. I'm not sure, but I know that in the Bible it said, I've heard people talk about seeing heaven, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I do know there are animals in heaven. That's for sure. It says in the Bible there are real animals in heaven. I know for sure that's true. It says in the Bible there are animals that have like, they look really funny. They look different from the animals that we saw on Earth. But some of our animals make it to heaven too, like cats and dogs. Well, I'm going to go. It says dogs for sure in the Bible, but I think back then maybe they didn't have as many cats, so it doesn't say. But dogs make it to heaven. Well, I'm going to go. Okay, bye. Click like in the video, subscribe. This is John, or my kids call me Dad or Dada. Dada. Okay, bye.